Hello, everyone. I am Demetra K, and I hope that you are having a great day. Thank you for joining me here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner, on the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Hello, and thank you to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation, to my wonderful moderators. Thank you for all that you do in holding down the comment section, as it is much appreciated. Today, we're going to be talking about Black America outraged over a viral rap song called Spend That, setting a bad example for our people. So for setting a bad example for our people, of course, y'all saw the thumbnail and all of that. Who do we have on here so far before we get started? We have Brother Dom, a triple OG moderator, Mike Nice, other moderator. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sister Shirley, another moderator. Dear self, what's going on with you? Troy, Clifford, JJ Mars in the building. All right, and Beverly White. Let's go ahead and get started for the sake of time, and then we'll go ahead and hear from Donovan. So anyway, Brother Arneva, how you doing? In case you live under a rock, and Donovan claims that he's never heard this song before or live under a rock, but there's been quite the conversation that I really did not want to get into, but I see that it's kind of grown. Thank you, Beverly, for the super sticker. I see that it's kind of grown some legs, and this conversation is just kind of all over the place. Now, of course, I cannot play you all the song for obvious reasons, but this is Young Miami. She is one part of the City Girls. I don't know if they're still together, but nevertheless, that's who she got into the spotlight with, the City Girls. Well, she has scored herself a very, I guess, viral song. They call them the Song of the Summer, called Spend That. Now, I'm going to read y'all some of the lyrics, but obviously I can't read you all of them because it is not for TV per se. So some of the lyrics go: where all my scamming bleep N-words at, spending that money fast, 20s, 50s, 100s cash, boy, go in that go yard bag, boosting B words, where y'all at, stuffing that ish in y'all bag, just to flip it, pop some tags, hustlers, go girl in that go yard bag. So I'm assuming that's like a high-end bag. And then the tagline is spend that, right? And then my daughter's laughing. And then it goes, I like a gangster A N-word, making more than 10 figures. I'm a down A B, riding with you in the splat. She explains that to be a stolen car. Only F with the hitters for his girl. He's a tricker. Calling up his trap phone N-words. Where you at? Now, then it goes on, to talk about where my scamming, N-words at and all this other stuff. So anyway, I think y'all get the point. But the point is, so again, that is Young Miami. Let me take her down. Now, there's a lot of people who are mad because they feel like this particular song, which is very catchy. I'm not going to lie. It's a super catchy tune. A lot of people are upset because they're saying that it is corrupting the youth. Of course, by now, you guys maybe or maybe have not seen the copious amount of videos of children, whether they're at some sort of, this one guy who's gone viral with the song. I don't know if he was at an after school type thing or whatever it was, but he was surrounded by kids and he's dancing to the song and the song is playing and they're singing the song, all the lyrics. And then there was another video that came out. I guess kids were on a school bus or somewhere going to a I don't know, field trip somewhere, and they're all on the bus and they're singing the song, all the lyrics, and a whole host of other things. So a lot of people have accused, I guess, Young Miami and the song of corrupting the youth, corrupting women, encouraging people, I guess, women and children and men to, I guess, to be hustlers and scammers and stealing and boosting and a whole host of other things that are of the degenerate type. So from that point, people like India Ari, y'all know who she is, right? Very positive sister in the music space, talking about I am not my hair and all of that. Well, she responded to somebody who was talking about the song, says, I finally realized that not everybody wants to get free. And it was a very, very, very rude awakening, shaking my head, because the mass acceptance of this song is a crystal clear sign of this much bigger truth. So, of course, y'all know that India Ari has been in the music industry for, I think, over 20 years now. She's, again, more on the positive side, but she often, and it kind of seems like esoterically, talks about some of the darker side of the music industry. So from that point, India Arie caught a lot of backlash, right? She caught a lot of backlash. They called her hater and all this other stuff. And then you have Niecy Gilbert from Brownstone. She tweeted this, and she says, what saddens me the most about the Spend Dat conversation isn't the people attacking the opinions of two Black women in the music who have spent nearly 60 years collectively trying to uplift it, inspire it, and protect our community. It's the people who know something is wrong, yet choose silence to protect their comfort, careers, or peace of mind. Ignorance has always been loud. What hurts more is the silence of those who know better. Much respect to India Arie for standing on her convictions. If the moment ever called for it, I stand 10 toes beside you, rather, without hesitation. Queen, and she throws up the fist. So from that point, Niecy gets dragged into the conversation of being a hater, right? You all just don't understand. It's the song of the summer, because India Arie also went on to say, well, you know, words have power. And the words that are being sung and that are being, you know, obviously the youth are hearing it for whatever reason, that is speaking into them and to a whole lot of people. And they're both, in a sense, are saying, well, why don't we just, you know, focus on something else positive? Now, again, as I said, it is a very catchy song. And you have people like Lisa Ray, who, and again, I cannot play the song, but she was doing the famous dance to the song and all of that. And she's got her bathing suit on and all of that. I couldn't show you the whole video because, you know, I just couldn't. But even she liked the song. But there are some people who are calling out India Arie again and Niecy Gilbert and all the old biddies that have a problem with this song. So first you're going to hear from Trick Daddy and Uncle Luke.
Shout out to Young Miami. Got the hottest record in the world. Not just the country. The hottest record in the world. They singing this China and Russia and Ethiopia. Shout out to Young Miami. You bad body old. I want to be given how you feel about this young girl and her song. All the negative music that come out, you want to simply try to target a young Black female that's doing something positive, that's in her bag.
Everybody lived in the world of Jill Scott, and all music was Jill Scott and India Arie and Afrocentric. We would be bored. It's just lyrics. So when this girl, India Arie, or well, whoever the hell it is, listen, I have no problem with these Afrocentric type people, but they're always jumping into the conversation of wanting art to be created like they are.
Okay, so again, that was two of Florida's finest, I guess. And I should say that Young Miami obviously is from Florida as well. So they are sticking up for Young Miami, basically saying everybody who has a problem with the song, they're haters. And you guys just won't let a young, you know, woman live and this, that, and the other. She's making her money. The song is wildly popular. You Jill Scotts and India Aries and you Niecy Gilberts and all you Afrocentric people, you need to be quiet and let her do her thing, right? So on the other side of the conversation, there are some people like, it's just a song, right? She is not technically meaning to go out there and scam and boost. For those of y'all don't know what a booster is, those are people who go steal clothes or whatever it is, right? And then they might go sell it on the street or something like that. She's saying, I'm not really telling people to do that. I'm just saying, and this is what other people say too, hey, go get your money, right? Go get your money. You hustler, shout out to you. I see you type of thing. But then, of course, the other kind of conversation is like, hey, that is really corrupting the youth. That's what's wrong with our children, as you know, songs like that, artists like that. And there's calls for her to be canceled, to be honest with you, due to the song. And that a lot of that is coming from our community. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Donovan, and then we can continue to have the conversation. Donovan, with all that I said, what say you?
Got a lot to say. But I will say this. Isn't this the girl that is the human toilet for P. Diddy? Isn't this the girl that allegedly city girl? I've never listened to this type of music or this person, okay? So I can't really speak too much on the music, but this It seems like she's built her career on degeneracy and whatever else she's built it on. Have nothing against that. Everything has a niche. You know, you got this, you got gangster rap, you got rock, you got a niche, right? Any parent that would allow their children to listen to this type of music, which seems a little bit more for the adults, that's a problem. Now, speaking of the children, if you have children that can say word for word what this song is saying, but can't do their ABCs, they can't read a book, they can't comprehend what they read, you have a problem. In our community, why is it that we glorify degeneracy and just nonsense, but then when it comes to things that are economically important to us, like this Asian boycott that is going on? But do you guys see how? Have you guys noticed that when we are focused on something that is of an importance, because maybe it's just me, but when we're focused as a group on something important, something comes down the pipe that acts as a distraction to get us off of point, and then we start turning on each other. Am I the only one that notices that? I think it is a problem, like I said, and I've told you guys on this program many and many times. A woman, a mother, and I believe this woman is a mother. A mother is the most critical centerpiece of a community. Why? Because she is nurturing and influencing the children. So when this woman puts out these lyrics and whatever, and of course, you know, it's problematic that she's a mother and she is putting out this type of music. Even Cardi B, who is not FBA, who's of Dominican descent, she doesn't let her daughter listen to stuff like this because she knows the difference between performance and nonsense and what she wants for our kids. But in our community, mama could do no wrong. No matter what mama does, you can't correct mama. Mama can't be corrected. Again, when it comes to Black people coming together and being a economic force to better our community, along comes a distraction. And that's all I think this is. Because like I said, I'm not downing her hustle. She's in the entertainment industry. She's in the music industry. You've got some women that are in the adult news, you know, the adult industry. Everybody has a niche. And I'm not the one to judge all of that. However, Demetra says this all the time. When other people are more influential over your children than you are, the problem is not them. The problem is you.
Absolutely. Let me get into, get into the comment section in just a bit. And I see you all have different opinions and things like that. Well, you know, Donovan is right. And I do always say that why is your child listening to Young Miami or Cardi B or any of these other people? See, I always say it's not the kids, it's the parents. We have very silly parents, and then I've always said this too. I think this is the worst generation of parents ever made. It just is. And we'll get into that for a little bit later on. But yeah, do I love the song? I don't love the song. When I first heard it, I thought it was a joke, to be honest, which I actually heard it maybe like 2 months ago or so at this point. And then for whatever reason, it took off. Everybody loves the song and things like that. So I thought it was a joke, but I don't know how, well, I do know how children are listening to this song. But I have to be fair in my criticism of the song, because Young Miami's song Spend That is not the first time we've heard some degeneracy. Hell, we could go all the way back to Millie Jackson. Okay, we can even go back to the 20s and the 30s when they were singing about all kind of stuff, right? I mean, stroking and all these other things. But somehow people want to plant the degeneracy of the community on Young Miami. I think it's unfair, and I think it's kind of lazy. Again, I've seen all types of think takes. They blaming her, they blaming this, and they blaming that. I'm like, how y'all gloss over the parents? Okay. But my other thing is, we got a lot of other things in the community to worry about too. You talking about this is the degeneracy in the community when we got over this past weekend, Brother James, if you in the chat, I see the stuff that you sent me. There's a lot of people unalived in Chicago. There's a lot of people unalived in our communities all day long, right? But yet we're worried about a song. Does music cause corruption? Absolutely. Okay. But nobody, and I know why they don't, and I know what India.Arie was saying without her saying it because I heard her explain it. Nobody's really putting the blame where the blame is due on the people that own those record companies. And the other thing too is a lot of the people that are mad at Young Miami, you're not mad at Tyler Perry. You're not mad at all the other degeneracy that is put into our community. Now, as I was having this conversation with my daughter for the last week or so, Young Miami is not the problem. She is just the result of a lot of things that we have let slide in our community. Because my daddy used to always say the Black woman used to be the standard. And don't get it wrong, we still are. But there's a lot of things you would not see or hear Black women do in public, right? She might have did all those things behind closed doors, but it was kind of odd to see, you know, Miss Bertha with a skirt all the way up to here, or she's saying this, that, and the other all out in public. But we have continued to let a lot of degeneracy become normal, okay? Oh, that ain't no big deal, child. When I was a kid, we used to get, but you know, that's how they get down now. A lot of you parents, okay, and I'm a woman, so I'm gonna speak from a woman's point of view and a mother's point of view. Y'all afraid of y'all children. Y'all are afraid to check your children. You're afraid to say something to your daughters. Hey, baby, that skirt might be a little too short, because that's what they do, right? And so again, we get to this point where it's like, oh my God, she's corrupting the kids. Is she corrupting the kid, or are you a piss poor parent that allow your child to sit up and listen to what stuff you listen to? I'm from the age where I remember grown-ups used to have records or albums in a brown paper bag. I'm from the age where you didn't watch everything your parents watch, but we're in the day and age where children are watching any and everything on TV, whether it's Power, whether it's The Chi, right? I used to watch The Chi, but I stopped watching it cold turkey because I did not like what Lena Waithe, right, has put out to Black people to watch. The Chi is a coming of age story. It started with them being kids, I think, in elementary school, but it's turned into all of this degeneracy. But yet when I hear people mad at Young Miami song, which is, however you look at it, is problematic, but you're not mad at all the other filth that is pumped into our community that we have made normal, that we have. The last time I watched one of Tyler Perry's things, somebody said, oh, watch it, it's really good. I had to turn it off. And I'm not going to be too graphic here, but Debbie Morgan, who is a veteran actress, and I think his name is Richard Lawrence. He's a veteran actor. They're in their 70s, okay? There's a scene where she pulls up on her son's house, and he's got a big, giant see-through, big glass window living room, and he is bending another dude over, like you can see everything, and she's watching that, and she's not appalled by it, right? So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Why is it that we allow certain things to slide, not even just in television and radio, but in our own homes, in our own community? And as I say to Brother James all the time when he's, you know, and I know his heart is in the right place, when he's emailing me these stories of all the things that are going on in Chicago with the violence and things. And I always think whenever he sends it to me, where are the men? Where are the men? Where has it become normal? See, that's why I want my shirt today. 10, that's getting a little big on me. 10,000 fearless. This was the call of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 2015, where he was looking for 10,000 fearless men and women to go out into the community and save our people. That's what comes to my mind. When has it become normal that I'm speaking to you men on this one, that you have conceded your manhood to the shoot 'em up boys or whatever you call them to ruin and terrorize the neighborhood? When have you took off your and then put them away and then saying, not saying this to Brother James at all, I'm just saying in general, and said we need somebody to do the job that we should be doing? So I'm saying all that to say Young Miami is a result of us being cool with everything. As Donovan said, if we're distracted, them people give us. No matter what it is. I talked about it all the time. That whole conversation, the red pill, the woman hates the black man, that captivate our community. And the unity that we had between black men and women was almost destroyed. Now, do you think that was a conversation that was original to us? No. Somebody dropped that off in our community. And because we don't think all the time, we bit it hook, line, and sinker. And we thought that was a problem. But back in the day, black men and women were married more than anybody else. Now we're married less. Although I saw a study that says that we're working on that, is actually improving. But I'm saying that to say we cannot be misguided to think that Young Miami is the reason children that say can't read or children are behaving this way and that way. I can log on the internet at any given day and I see some silly woman who will have her baby daughter no more than 5 with little bitty skirts on, tied up shirts, and she posing, and y'all done, trying to turn your little girls into little bad bees. Not my words, but that's the presentation that you put out. But you want to blame Young Miami? So yeah, I agree with India Irie in that, words are powerful. But as my daughter made a good point, she says, it's funny that people aren't making Young India Irie stuff go viral. Why don't we make that go viral as much as we are talking about Young Miami? Let's run up her album. India Irie is a great album, right? She's talking about loving yourself and proud to be black and all that. But see, we don't want to do that. Why? Because we are conditioned to eat the negative, talk bad about our people instead of saying, you know what? I don't have to listen to Young Miami. My little bitty babies damn sure ain't gonna listen to Young Miami, just like I didn't listen to the stuff that my mom and daddy was listening to, whatever that might have been. I don't know. So that's the larger conversation.
Absolutely. Do us a favor, you guys. Hit that like button. It's absolutely free. And don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. Demetra puts in a lot of work. So if you guys would like to buy Demetra a cup of coffee, there's ways you can do that. She'd really appreciate it. And to keep these great conversations going, please help the channel if you would like. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You could donate and keep these conversations going.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Harmony, how you doing? Says we can bring the focus back to where it belongs. FBA wealth transfer needs to stay front and center in our conversations. Yeah. And I'm one of those people. I think we can have all conversations. And this is one I think that needs to be had. And also, as I was telling my daughter, I said, I think, unfortunately for Young Miami, I mean, she'll do well with the song and things like that. But I think, unfortunately for her, she is just kind of the symbol of the correction that's going on in the black community, right? When I say correction, I mean, now we're talking about the wealth transfer. Let's not give all our money to everybody else. And we're talking about the things that are degenerate in our society. Because see, that's up to us to reject all of that degeneracy, right? And become better parents and say, well, I don't want my child listening to that. But as I always say too, a lot of y'all kids, not y'all, but them over there, y'all gave them a cell phone and they on TikTok. They doing all kinds of things. You have no idea what your children are doing. And so when then you hear them, where am I scamming? You wonder where they heard it from. Well, you gave them a gateway to the world. This is a gateway to the world that your child is not equipped to even navigate, let alone you. But y'all give this to your children with all the apps on and say, here, baby, because you want your child to go not get on your nerves. And then you want to blame Young Miami for corruption. No, blame your silly self for not watching your child and giving them this. And God knows what they're into. So I agree, Harmony. We do need to focus on that. But I think we got to, really talk about it all. But this is a correction that's going on in our community. It's a good thing. So it's not Young Miami's fault. She's just kind of the center of the topic right now. Right. Let's see. Cynthia, how you doing? You says, they do witchcraft in the studio to make the songs of this type addictive. Yes, and if you know anything about the Bible, and I really don't know a lot, but I know some, what was the devil's ministry? Music. Do what you want with that, right? Jay, how you doing? Thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you. Says musicians of past did nothing to protect black music or ownership. Most of them don't own their masters, but they hop up same old in community. Well, I will say this too. I always tell you guys, I know a lot of y'all have watched The Two Killings of Sam Cooke. Again, The Two Killings of Sam Cooke, that's on Netflix, is one of the best documentaries you'll ever watch about the music industry and actually why a lot of black artists do not own their masters. And Cadillac Records is also a good movie to watch, and it'll explain to you why a lot of artists don't own their masters and or are fighting for their masters today. It was a game designed for them not to do that. So yeah, I get it. Scoop, how you doing? Says I would never allow my kids to listen to this degenerate, disgusting. Feels so glad my kids are grown. Absolutely. Corey, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Joseph, he says I listen to NWA F the police and I haven't killed one of them. What? Yeah, I mean, but even go back then, where gangster rap was going on, that was a problem back then too. So there's been problematic music in our community for a very long time. Let's see, Danny, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let me skip down. I know I'm a little bit behind. African Native, he says always busy. So you're talking to Mike. Sister Shirley says, hate to admit it, but I don't know Young Miami is. That's a good thing, I promise you. Avenge the Ancestors, how you doing? I hope that you are doing well today. T. Austin says, absolutely true. Common Man, how you doing? Says, but back then, the records were only sold to adults. Today, they allow kids to buy them. Yeah, you know, but where the kids getting the money from? They're getting it from you. Not you, Common Man, but I'm saying in general. And do you not, as parents, monitor what your children are spending, what they're doing? See, that's the problem. Part of it, anyway, or a lot of it. Cloudless, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Let's see, who else haven't I seen? Eric, what's going on? Says Tyler Perry, Young Miami record companies and parents are corrupting the children. The parents are corrupting the children. I can't blame Young Miami, can't blame Cardi, can't even blame Tyler. The parents are corrupting the children because, like I said, I didn't watch everything my parents watched. I just didn't, because I was a kid.
You know, but you bring up a good point with that too. When you talk about, like I said, I don't want anybody to think that we're making it seem like the older generation is just these angelic type people, because let's face it, this is the I can only speak on the generation before mine, the baby boomer generation. This was the free love, this, that. That was the first generation. If you look at it historically, the baby boomer generation was the most, and this is not a negative. So if you're of that generation, don't take it as a negative. They were the most changing generation in this country's history. The things that they did in the 60s, the 50s, and the 60s was so against the grain that they actually changed this country in some ways for the better, in some ways for the worst. But if you look at that generation itself, it was the first generation that went against tradition, their normal tradition. And that's just a fact. So let's not sit up here, because if you open your old photo albums, go to grandma's house and open the photo albums. The women were always dressed nice. The men were always dressed nice. You didn't see any pictures of people with their pants sagging down by their ass and all this other stuff. Everybody was dressed nice. Then you get to the baby boomer generation, right? What were they doing? You know, everybody back in the day before, everybody had a haircut. You know, they had hats or whatever they were doing. Then you get to the baby boomer generation, Afrocentric, right? Everybody's got their afro out. They're growing their beards, the sideburns, the style changed, right? Then you see the Cadillac, the pimp culture, and all this other BS, the drugs, the actual counterculture that actually happens. So we're not sitting here saying because we're older, you know, oh, these kids are out of control. Everybody is doing what the generation before them did and pushing the barrier a little bit more.
Absolutely. And Barry, thank you so much for that. I'm trying. Common Man, thank you once again. You say, yep. And thank you also to Vinny and Jay for the donations. Love it. Appreciate you. Common Man says, yep. I'm 64. And when I was a kid, we couldn't listen to Red Fox, Rudy Ray Moore, Richard Pryor, Cheech and Chong. He says, I saw Cheech and Chong as a kid, but that's a long story. Says they were only for adults, but all that changed in the late 70s and early 80s. Absolutely. And yes, Richard Lawson, I said Richard Lawrence, but yes, Richard Lawson is the name of the guy that's on the Tyler Perry, is veteran actor, one of those shows.
Oh, the guy that was married to Beyonce's mom, Richard Lawson. Yeah.
We know who Richard Lawson is without talking about Beyonce mama, Miss Tina. He's a force all by himself. He was some before he got with Miss Tina. Rohan, how you doing? Says when some men speak on what some of our women and girls are doing, men are ashamed to stay in their lane. Yes, and I get the shaming, and I'm going to say this because I'm not saying that men shouldn't be able to say anything to women. The problem is, and y'all know how I feel about that, is the men aren't talking to the men. There's a lot of men who sit on here or everywhere, women this and women that and women this. But, you know, I got Brother James, and I do love him very dearly because I know his heart in the right place. But he's emailing a couple times a week saying, hey, these kids are off the chain. Now, are there some girls out there that's, you know, doing the Yosemite Sams in the neighborhood? Yeah, but it's probably mostly the boys. So while we let us women, right? Because I'm 55 and grown, okay? And I'm telling you, I'm equipped. Let the women, and I agree, more women need to speak up and start, you know, correcting the younger ones. But we need the men to get out there and get a hold of the boys and grow them up, raise them, and teach them to be men, and stop focusing on, as a man, what women need to be doing. See, if we handle it on our ends, then we're going to be all right. But there's too many people trying to get women in check while the boys are off the chain. That's just how I'm saying. So I'm not saying that y'all can't say something to women, but y'all talk more to the women. And I know it takes, you know, our nation can rise no higher than this woman. That's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spent 75% of his time cultivating the women, 25% with the men, because the woman, the mother, is the first teacher. But that was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was equipped to do that. We got a lot of men on here that ain't raised nothing but what they shouldn't be raising, and they want to tell women what to do. Go talk to the men. But see, the problem with that is, with women and men of today, they don't know what it is to be a woman or a man. They think it's because I look good, or I could trampoline somebody for more than 2 minutes, or I could take somebody out to dinner. But what else is involved in being a man or a woman? That's the easy stuff. So that's where we need to be. We all need to raise these children to be decent men and women. And that was the call from the Nation of Islam for Saviors Day address via the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That was delivered by Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad. Let's make our communities a safe and decent place to live. So we need both men and women to do that, right? Easy E in the building. How you doing? And man, what's going on? It says Trick Daddy is supposed to be some kind of politician. No, that's Uncle Luke. He's running to be Congress. It's weird. One who cares says decolonization of the mind. Talking about Brother Phil Scott's book. Absolutely. King Shaw, he says parents got to raise their kids. Yes, have to. But a lot of parents don't even know what it is to be a parent no more. They just think I have the child, I feed the child. And that's another conversation we got to have. I'm seeing way too many stories of, and I know it happens everywhere, but our children being unalived by parents. I'm seeing too many stories about that. So we can focus on young Miami, but we got an emergency in our community that that's not being solved. We got to get to the bottom of what's going on in our community. When I say parents unaliving children, I'm not talking about abortion. I'm talking about these kids who coming up missing, and then they did something to their babies, you know. So we have to have that conversation too. Don't need what's going on with you. Hope you're doing well. I'm just gonna go so that skip down a little bit. FBA. D, what's going on? Says the music is free now. Yeah, you can stream it, you know, on different streaming. Jim Journals, how you doing? He said never heard of the song. Rhonda, what's going on with you? Says after rappers delight music went to hell. Yeah, you know, but that was all by design too. When we were becoming conscious and loving to be black and, you know, all that other stuff, they was like, heck no. And a lot of rappers talk about Too Short. They all talk about that. They wanted to make better music, but these record executives was like, no, we need y'all to get out there and let it rip as much disgusting as you. That's why music nowadays, like, they play this stuff on the radio. I was in the car the other day and I heard them some song talking about stick it in my throat. And I'm like, this is on the Breakfast Club. Who is this conscious? They're very conscious, right? They're conscious of the black community. And I kid you not, the song was playing on the radio. I said, well, if that ain't disgusting, that how many parents are riding their kids to school in their car and that song is playing and they're not even going to turn it off. Maybe not even paying attention to the lyrics. And those lyrics are going throughout the airways. Horrible. Bernie's, what's going on with you? You say, unless you can shut down all strip clubs, rappers are going to keep making music for it. It's a strip club song. Yeah, but your child shouldn't be in the strip club. Right?
Right. And as far as strip club goes, with the way the economy is, the strip clubs are going out of business because nobody wants to pay that kind of money for some stank coochie.
Oh, my God. Wow. Zachariah, thank
Wait,
you.
wait, wait. When I was in Hawaii, didn't I tell you the clubs over there were going broke and closed down in Hawaii because it's so expensive in Hawaii? Nobody's going to the club. So now the single moms are going to be suffering.
She'll be all right. Zachariah, thank you so much for the super sticker. Love and appreciate you for that. Scoop, thank you. You say stop being lazy parents. Your 5-year-old doesn't need an iPad or a phone unsupervised. I don't get that, Scoop. Well, like, why does your child, even younger than 5, they got all these apps and but if you ask them to read something, they can't read. A lot of times they can't even put a sentence together, and it's sad, right? Well, again, this is all by design. Hey, Thunder, how are you doing? You must be a very busy man. I hardly see you anymore. Black Plumber, what's going on with you? You say not true, and I wish I knew what that was in regards to, but I don't. Tamika, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Facts not feeling the building. Says peace and love, family. Remember a few weeks ago, Iran made a rap Lego song about the war and U.S. history that got millions of views. Black rappers can make the same song, but their white supremacist handlers say no. There you go. That is by design.
But wait a minute. We keep talking about the wealth transfer and all this other stuff. Why are we dependent on these white record labels and stuff like that? Why don't we start making our own record labels? I mean, you got streaming on the internet and all this other stuff. So why are we dependent on all this stuff? Like we can't build it ourselves. We're getting back to the awakening to where we're going back and doing what it is we've always done. Do you guys realize all of these other groups that we opened the door and held the door for came here because of us? We already know that, but we had already wrote the blueprint on how to deal with white supremacy. That's why we had our own communities, and we did it without any government help. So now we just got to get back to doing what we did before. You guys have seen the 5 heartbeats. I said my office hours are. We had our own record labels. We had our own black grocery stores. We had our own black beauty shops. We are just circling the block, getting back to what we always knew we could do. Again, nothing against the baby boomers. They thought integration would be a better thing for us, but it actually destroyed our economic communities by giving our money to the white man. So again, we could do all this stuff by ourselves. As a matter of fact, real quick, the African Diaspora News Channel has an artist on there that just dropped a new single. And if you guys know about it, if you want to hear the music, this is what I'm talking about. Brother Phil Scott, he is promoting and I don't necessarily say producing, but promoting his own artists. The people that want to, these young ladies that want to sing and young people that want to sing, he's doing that. Let's get back to it. It ain't like it's impossible. We could gatekeep our own music if we want to.
Yes, indeed. Barry, he says, I do speak to these young men. I tell this, ain't it, cause one day you're going to look back and regret your decision. I used to be a young man and I did some things I regret, but I'm retired. And when I see these, your comment cut off. Yeah. And that's what we have to be. We have to become mentors. We have a raised, and I say we, because I believe in a village mentality. We've raised a generation of children who will not listen to us, who will not take advice. And as I say, there's a lot of parents out there scared to death of their children. And I just don't understand. There's a lot of things I would do before I'm scared of my own child. I promise you. Velvet, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. And yes, Easy, I saw your comment about the Million Man March. Yeah, that's what people were told to do. Come back and make the community better, right? Thunder says, Marcus Aurelius said, do not argue about what a good man is. Be one. Come on now. Come on. I love that. All right. So let me just skip down time so I can catch up. Corey says some of our black parents are hurting their kids. Yeah, we need to figure out why that's going on, because that is sad. I swear it is. Trapping's rap. How you doing? Says the problem with the male and female relationship is a female that get that bad advice, choose child support over the relationship with their kid's father. Choosing child support, what men supposed to do? Well, I would say this to you. Don't lay down with a woman you don't want to pay child support to. Don't lay down with a woman. I know sometimes it happens, you know, you get married and things. I know sometimes that happens, but that's not the average. The average is A lot of you men, and because you brought it up, I'm just going to keep it real with you. Y'all lay down with a woman. You don't ask yourself no questions. Do I want to spend at least 18 years with her? Do I want to pay her child support for 18 to 22 years? Would I want to marry her? Is she the woman that I could see raising my children? If you answer no to just one of those questions, zip your pants up. Zip your pants up. You ain't got to lay down with everything that let you do it, right? You don't know nothing about this woman, okay? And then she talking about, I'm pregnant. Well, I don't know what you want me to do about all of that. And then when she take you to the white man, then you're mad, right? That's what child support is there for. It became a thing because and it wasn't really because of black people. It was because of them other people, their women having to force them to pay child support, after they done made obligations or whatever it is. And so child support serves a purpose to enforce you take care of your children. But the way to avoid that is stop putting your thing in women you ain't sure about. I'm just saying, abstinence is you just don't do it. I don't know. I know somebody probably gonna get mad. And I'm not saying that women are perfect, okay? And I know there's some men who will say, hey, I'll pay, some money. We ain't got to go through the system. I think that's the best way to go, right? Are there some women who are money hungry? Yes. But did you find that out before you laid down with this woman? Was you even trying to be with this lady other than the 2 minutes you was up in her? I'm just asking. JJ says record companies sexualize black women entertainers, but never force Taylor Swift to show that skin. Well, we're not. I mean, we know that, but people want the money. They go to a lot of times to people who are impoverished, right? That's usually their story. They go in and give them a giant bag of money to do some of the worst things known to man, and to sell that to everybody else. But again, like with the record companies, that's why I tell y'all to watch the 2 killings of Sam Cooke, because we've had record companies and we still do, but y'all got to realize the game that a lot of these black record companies are up against is, there's, mob activity. There's a whole lot of things going on. I'm not saying it's impossible, which is why there are a lot of artists that they stay independent. I just learned, as my daughter was telling me, Bad Bunny, the Puerto Rican artist, he's independent. And he's one of the world's most streamed artists ever. And he's independent. See, it seems like people could learn something from that, right? Why are you independent? Because you know what's going to happen when you go with these other record companies. And unfortunately, some of our record companies do it to the artists too. Puff Daddy is a perfect example. So yeah. Let me skip down just a tiny bit. Yeah, thank you so much for the super sticker love and appreciate you for that. Who else? And Thunder, you say, Dimitri and Donovan, with the technology that's available today, do we really even need a record label? No, a lot of people aren't using record labels. They're doing their own thing, right? They're becoming independent because it is a racket. I tell you that. You'd be surprised of all the things that are involved in not wanting black musicians to be independent, because that's what they said during this documentary. What happened to Sam Cooke? He wanted to start his own label. He was like, it's time to do our own thing. And they said, no, it's not. So yeah. But it's not to say we can't. Pop, how you doing, Sister Cynthia? What's going on with you? The A73IN, what's going on? It says, I knew my distant auntie was live in the kitchen. All right, now Amy, what's going on? Says the song is trash and destructive to the community. Without the lyrics, it may be okay. So why not put positive, uplifting words to it? Companies are counting money made from hurting us. Yeah, I'd say the same thing. It is a catchy tune, and it could have been. And I've heard people do other remixes. I heard somebody did a Christian remix. I'm like, the last thing I want to be is in church hearing that and thinking, or seeing people rolling their booties around because they thinking of her song. But yeah, she could have put anything, other lyrics to that. Willie, what's going on? Says, and the government bombed and burned them all to the ground repeatedly. You're talking about the record labels. That is true. Common Man, thank you so much once again. Love and appreciate you for that. It says 2 Live Crew, People Records executives were one of the crews that changed the game in the mid 80s. I was already out of rap then. I joined the army then. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Uncle Luke. Yeah, they I forget the name of their record company, but they created a lot of destruction and degradation, if you will, within the black community. And Tipper Gore, she tried to shut them down. Al Gore's wife, who was the vice president at the time, his wife was like, yeah, we're going to try to shut you down. And the United States Supreme Court said, no, they have freedom of speech. which is why they started putting the parental advisory sticker on the labels to let you know that your child probably shouldn't be listening to this. So yeah. One who cares says child can't read on a grade level. That have an iPhone I have mastered, and I can read. I own an Android. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I hear a lot of people going back to the Androids due to some of the things Apple may be doing. Fair use. How you doing today? Hope that you're having a great day. Marjorie, what's up with you? Let's see. I'm gonna try to make it all the way to the bottom. Soto says at least. Yeah, I mean, you know what they call, and I'm trying to be as clean as I can, but you know what they call men who pull out? Parents. Scentflix, what's going on with you? It says, yeah, we had our own stores on nearly every corner. Yeah, we can get back to that again. We will, right? Jersey Rick, it says, you can easily get your own record label. I have one and make music, but I'm not known. These popular artists can easily do it and make their own music and make money. Yep. You don't have to be tied to a record company like you used to. And because people aren't really making records, a streaming type of thing. So yeah, Slim Slammer, what's going on with you? It says body blow and going down. Queen Shaw, how you doing? It says you was right. People come up the way they were raised. Yeah, you know, but people ain't raising their children no more. They're just having them, putting some nice, cute little clothes on them or whatever it is, and they just, hey, here's a phone right out the womb, right? They take their first breath of air and then they get their first iPhone. So we got to stop that. We got to actually participate in raising our children. Sunlight says Taylor Swift is not desperate for money. No, she's not desperate for money, but we know that they're set up, they being a white artist and even some of the other artists, they're set up just a tiny bit differently than ours, right? I'm telling y'all, and I'm going to say this. I wish that our people would study history more and read more. Because when we read more and dig off into the crates of history, then you'll understand why things are working the way they do with our community. Our community has always been set up, even back from the plantation, as a spigot to draw money for everybody else in every way, shape, and form. And other groups of people who have come over here, they have just learned the blueprint of what everybody else, you know, let's say like the Jews and the Gentiles, as they would, I know they're separate, Jews and Gentiles would do. Other groups of people said, oh, well, we want to use that same playbook on Black Americans, and we just fall for it all the time. So we have to study history and figure out why these things are done to us, because I'm telling you, no other group of people in this country has had done to them what has been done to us. So yeah. LaFace, yeah, that's Babyface's record, and L.A. Reid. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Skipping down. Nick, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Todd says, heard the message today from a preacher. Better to train a child than a repair man. Come on now. And that actually came from, was it Frederick Douglass that said that? I think it was. It was our original quote. So yes. King Shaw says, you got to pay to play. Child support was designed for deadbeats. Yeah, it's just the truth. Poppy say the owl shop and bobbled head comes with 2 hairstyles, a conch and a jerry curl. What you talking about, Willis? Easy, what's going on with you? Shalom to you as well. It says, for Christ light frequency on earth, spirits have no color, race, religion, gender, or age. Just good or evil spirits are taking the minds and hearts of young people and old. Okay. Michelle, how you doing? Says the youth is already corrupt in many different ways. And then you put NDRE. Yeah, they're very, there's been corruption all the time. I think it's probably a little bit worse because I think that we as parents, we have just taken our hands off of our children. You don't know where they are half the time. They run in the streets. They, you don't give a damn. Not you. I'm just talking about them over there. Don't give a damn about your kids. You don't. Our parents with no cell phones, no pagers, no, none of that used to know where we were because they had to know where you were. And if you didn't tell them where you were and they had to come looking for you, it was going to be a wrap.
How many of you guys remember back at the old school dances and your mom or dad went up to the DJ and the DJ had to call you out so you can go home?
Hey, and don't have Miss Gloda Dean come up in there with a belt hanging, talking about, now, didn't I tell you to meet me outside? I told you if I had to come up in here, it was going to be some problems, right? So you just knew that your mama and your daddy, okay? Because if your mama had to snatch you up, your daddy was going to finish you up, okay? So you knew better. You just did. I'm not saying we were perfect, but we kind of had, you know, we had a little bit more fear of our parents, because our parents is like, call the police. I'll go to jail, but when I get out, I'm going to go right back. See, we knew that. These kids nowadays, that tap the whole damn house, whoop the mama butt, whoop the daddy butt. You call the police on them, you know, and then no, they'll call the police on you. Talking about, and they mean to me. Did you see what this sucker just did to Bob? So, yeah, we need to get back to where I snatch a nut in your little behind. I'm just saying. Jean, how you doing? Says this has been going on for decades, influenced youth for decades, not positive. Yeah, we have, like I said at the beginning, we have normalized a lot of degeneracy in our community. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things that, like I'm 55, right? So I remember like not being able to go to church with your grandmama or anybody, right? I was born in the Nation of Islam. And I remember going to church with my dad, or the mosque, okay, or temple, however you want to describe it. Men sat on this side, women sat on that side. You didn't get to go in there dressed any old kind of way with everything hanging out, your skirt all the way up in here. No, they always make sure you get right before you go up in there. Okay, you needed to come into the mosque appropriately, and even the church. Back in the day, you had the usher board, right? The mother board be like, she can't come in here like that. Or that young man, he need to. But nowadays, you walk the woman with the breasts and thighs hanging out all the way to the front of the church and sitting right in front of the pastor. And he got a problem too, keeping his eyes on his Bible, but yet you usher her up to the front of the church instead of saying, well, you know, we got a choir robe or a little moo or something you could put on. But you know what they say? Oh, well, it says come as you are. And that's not okay. But it doesn't say, you know, lower the standard. It doesn't say lower the standard of the church to the world. It says, you know, use some common sense. But see, we made things normal that shouldn't be.
Well, Demetra, have you seen some of these apostles, these female apostles and pastors up in the churches with their BBLs and stuff like that? And, you know, I don't go, I'm Catholic. I don't really go to those churches type like that, but I've seen like in videos, and I've seen YouTube preaching, you know, segments and programs that they have. And I'm looking at the chick and I'm thinking, is she the pastor or is she a visiting testimony or whatever she's doing? But a lot of these women that are pastors are adopting the culture, which is also leading a lot of the young women that do go to church. Because let's be real, y'all. Most of these young people do not go to church. They do not. So let's just be real about that. But the ones that do, if that's the pastor and the pastor is dressed a certain way, or even the pastor's wives in the churches, look at how they're dressed. So instead of being influential, these people are being influenced by what's going on outside of the church. So what do you have to say about that?
I mean, yeah, yeah, that is a problem. But, you know, the women are out of their minds, and the men are out of their minds too in the church, because we know a lot of times, not all churches, but a lot of churches, the pastor got one on the motherboard, two in the choir, got, you know, the deaconess board, you know, they doing something strange for the church. So there's a lot of degeneracy going on that we have just made normal. You know, the church is a whole different conversation. Mama Deb, thank you so much for the donation. Love it. Appreciate you for that. Comment man, thank you once again. Says we sold our rap jams out of our old cars. Yep. It says because we, when we started, no radio station or record company would touch us. If not for Sylvia Robinson's son, says rap would have never got discovered. I'm familiar with the name, but I don't remember who her son is, if you don't mind enlightening me. But absolutely, we did
real quick. Name the song that Sylvia Robinson is famous. What she had a couple of songs that she was famous for. One of the biggest ones she had in the 70s. Can you name one?
No.
Remember the song Pillow Talk? Hey, baby, let me be below. Talk with me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so she was an artist before she was the CEO.
Got you. T. Austin says, my mama caught me playing in class one day, and that's something I never did before. She got me good in the hallway. Yeah, so you get tapped up when you act up. That's how I grew up too. Wasn't no, we're going to wait till we get home type thing. It's like, yeah, you're going to get tapped up where you act up. Back then, things were a little bit different, right? Jupiter Joy, what's going on with you? Hope that you're doing well. Dundada was up with you. Says, my mother used to whip my tail at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I thought I was having a bad dream. Well, damn, what was you doing at 3 in the morning? Woo, that's crazy. Did you deserve it? Let's see.
Well, that's kind of pretty messed up. My grandmother used to get like water and like, put it on you. My uncles and them, and just throw that water in your face or whatever the deal is while you're sleeping to wake you up.
Oh boy, I went through a lot of things in life, but I ain't never been through nothing quite like that. Oh yeah, with throwing water in people's face, you could kill somebody actually doing that. Anthony, how you doing? Chicago in the house. Saint Flex, you say, yeah, they don't go anymore because they are being awakened to the truth. Yeah, the church, right? It's good for some things. I'm not discounting the church, but there's a lot of degeneracy going on in there too. That's why one of the reasons I stopped going, I'm like, hell, y'all cutting up more in the church than they are in the street. And then a lot of times you do it in the name of the Lord. I'm like, I don't know if this was ever in the Bible. None of this kind of stuff, right? Let's see. Pop says razor straps made the world. What? He says, hold on, razor straps made the world go round. Ooh, I never been whooping nothing like that. Jersey Ricky says, I'm from Inglewood, New Jersey, and I know the Robinson Sugar Hill gang. He might be talking about Joey Robinson. Okay. FBA D says, yeah, grandma will whoop you at school, grocery store, anywhere. Okay. There you go. And children knew that. So let's see. T also says, water in the face. We came up tough. Yeah, I ain't never had that happen to me. I'd be mad as hell about that one. Lukey says, catch you fresh out the shower. Oh, no, I ain't never had that either. Sunlight says, the water wake you up. Guilty. DJ said, what's going on? It says, don't fall asleep and forget to wash some dishes. Oh, yeah, I've done that before, and I never did it again. See, I know what it's like.
Or you didn't fold the clothes out the dryer, or, move the clothes.
I know what it's like to be up in the middle of the night washing the dishes because you didn't wash the dishes, and, washing all the dishes. Like, huh? Bonehound, what's going on with you? He says, spin that ish FBAs. You better stop. Common Man, thank you so much. Once again, says our cassette tape started selling better than pot. Yeah, Pillow Talk, Sylvia Robinson's son was a nobody. He just liked to hear us rap. So he told his mother about us. Oh, okay. You got a little bit going on there, Common Man. Got you the rap historian. The boss was going on with you. You said, oh, you did a typo. I didn't even see that you made a comment. Did I miss your comment? I didn't see it. If you did, I'm at the bottom of the comments. Isn't that wonderful? I said I wanted to get out here in about an hour or so. And listen, we have nothing else to talk about. Well, you said, D-Boss, you said, don't take away your Facebook account. I can't take away your Facebook account. I didn't see anything that you said. If you said anything, I didn't see it. The A7 was, he says, my grandmother once told me to go grab a switch off the tree in the backyard when I was 5. She didn't whoop me, though. I guess I was too willing to get the switch. Yeah, you were supposed to, hey, Albie, chill.
Well, actually, that's a psychological thing. Think about it. It's psychological. You knew you had to get a switch, and it couldn't be a weak switch to beat your own ass with. That's a psychological thing that's put into your head.
Yeah, I had to go get a switch. I never got really too many whoopings when I was a kid. We didn't get whooped a lot, but we did get whoopings. And whoopings we got was monumental to where you didn't want to get another one type of thing. One of my siblings, yeah, they got whooped a lot. But the rest of us, not so much. Todd says I had the electrical cord to the behind. Ooh, says just one time and I straightened up after that. Yeah,
I think the extension cord. How many of y'all got the extension cord?
No, I never had no extension cord. I'd have ran away for sure. They'd be still looking for me to this day. They'd whoop me with an extension cord. But so yeah, at the end of the day, and the Buckhorse says electric cord messed up is going in bad. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I just feel like.
But you know what's crazy though? I don't mean to cut you off. What's crazy is everybody has and that's what I love about FBAs. We have the same exact. How can people run around and say that we don't have culture when we can all sit here and talk about the same exact experiences? Everybody knows mama has mama hearing. And then if mama could be sitting on the couch and she could take her shoe off and that shoe will turn the corner and hit you in the side of your head.
Yeah. Oh, Marjorie say apple tree switches are the best. One sting and the point of obedience is understood. Yeah, I mean, I've been switched before and I didn't like that at all. I wasn't one of them kids that liked whooping, so I learned my lesson. Both my parents, may Allah be pleased with them, will tell you that I wasn't a bad kid at all because I didn't like whoopings. My dad would tell you that she did not like whoopings and didn't. It sounded like you said which sibling. Yeah, this sibling got she will catch a few of them. Scoop, thank you so much for the donation. Love it, appreciate you. Says my grandmother wouldn't let us use the washing machine. We had to wash our clothes in the tub with lye soap and a washboard. Ooh, now that's old school right there.
That keeps you grounded right there. See, something happens, at least you know how to wash your clothes by hand if you had to.
Absolutely. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I mean, I just, like I said, just going back to the song, I don't think that it's fair to blame Young Miami. Young Miami, I don't even think Dan, how's Young Miami? Maybe she's 30. Mm-hmm. So she's young. She's young. She's getting a bag. She's not original to that type of music or whatever it is. I mean, she's 32. Essence had Cardi B, Lotto, and a few other people there headlining, and all of that other stuff. But as I say too,
which isn't Essence saying that they're honoring Cardi B as the woman of Essence this year or something like that? A Dominican woman is going to be honored as a Black woman at the Essence Festival.
Well, we don't own Essence anymore,
we know that, but
we don't own it. So, they can honor, I guess, whoever they want. See, I don't really get too far into the weeds with that kind of stuff, because I'd rather talk about ownership and the things that we do own. But the point to me saying that is, there's a lot of degeneracy going on, but it's easy to focus on the degeneracy from, let's say, some artists or television, but we never talk about the degeneracy that's going on in our own homes or in the neighborhoods, because what the thing that we can do about that degeneracy as far as the music and things, we could just turn it off, not watch it, not participate in that. Nobody is forcing us to watch, to listen, any of that kind of stuff. Nobody is forcing your children. You are supposed to be the gatekeepers of your children's innocence, and anything that goes into them, you are supposed to monitor that. And it is disheartening to see people, parents, adults, I'm assuming, put their children on the internet singing and dancing to the song, because it's like, that goes to tell you, as I say, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. So the children are just the fruit that have been bared, if you will, by the parents who aren't cultivating any common sense or decency within themselves. So what makes us think that they're going to cultivate that in their children? Because I think you have to be a special type of fool to upload your child dancing and singing to that song that is not for them. Young Miami didn't make that song for children. She made that for adults. Now, if you are dumb enough to allow your children to sing that and hear those lyrics, that's not Young Miami's fault. It's not even a record label's fault. But see, you know what it is our fault? What's our fault is we won't get no knowledge. We won't get any understanding of anything. We just wake up, as my dad would say, we don't plan. The day plans us. You don't think strategically about raising your children. You don't think strategically about yourself. Like, how many people actually have a routine that they do every day or try to do every day, right? For the most part, when I wake up, I, pray. I have my dad's prayer cloth. Most times I get on my knees and I pray and things like that. I read something most of the days, and then I go to the gym, right? So I start off mindful. I try to start my day off mindful. I drink 32 ounces of water, in the morning before I eat anything or anything like that. So like I'm mindful, and then I know what I'm going to do for the most part, all, the week long and things like that. Now, when I was raising my child, she's 33 now, right? I said that too loud. She's going to be mad. But when she was young, I was a plan. I didn't just roll out of the bed and say, "Help, get ready for school." We gonna be late. I made sure her hair was combed for the week, right? I made sure her clothes was laid out. I made sure her lunch was packed. Made sure she got to school, whether my mom or somebody took her, because sometimes I work, or I took her on my days off. So there was plans. She had things to do after school. My daughter was always involved in things, because when I grew up and my siblings grew up, we were always involved in things, whether it was sports, whether it's something academically outside of school, you name it. We were always doing something. We were cultured. And that's another conversation we need to have. We don't culture our children anymore. How many people take their children to, let's say, the theater, a museum, or to do something where they would have to put on a nice little dress and a suit and go to dinner or something like that, right? So we have to get back to those things, because we're not seeing, and I'm not speaking for all of our people. I know that there's still things or people who do those things, but I'm saying you have to have a plan for yourself to succeed as a person, have a plan to succeed as a parent, and anything else that you may be doing, so that your children can succeed. And you also have to teach your children how to plan, how to be successful. Don't just wake up and say, oh, okay, I'm going to be on my phone all day. I had chores when I was coming up. A lot of y'all, not y'all, but them over there, you don't make your kids do chores. They don't know what that's like. What's in it for me? You going to pay me? Yeah, I'm going to pay you no mind after I beat your or whatever, after you take out the trash, you mow the grass, or whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. A lot of y'all clean your children's room. They don't clean their room. It's a lot. I don't understand it. So what I'm saying is, we got to get back to where we have a plan. Because as my younger brother always says, if you don't have a plan, there's somebody that has a plan for you, whether you like it or not. So we got to get to a point where we don't see children on the internet dancing and singing to any and everything and doing any and everything. We got to get back to that, because that's nobody else's fault but our own. Record companies there to make money.
Exactly. And in closing, I just want to say this. I remember going to some of my friends' homes. You're over there sleepover or whatever, but even you just stopping by for the day, and I would go in the room and the bed wasn't made. Now, of course, I have a lot of military friends that I grew up with, went to school with, and me being military myself, growing up in a military family. The first thing that my mom made sure I did when I get out of the bed, the first thing I do to start my day is to make my bed. Because if I don't get anything accomplished for the day, I made my bed. Like you said, though, people get up, they just roll out of bed, they don't do their bed, they don't clean their room, or whatever the deal is. And I used to look at that, and it would just blow my mind. Like, you got your funky ass and rolled out of your bed, and you didn't even make the bed. Because how hard it is to pull the sheets up, tuck it, and do all that other stuff. And that tells me a lot about a person that won't. I understand sometimes you're in a rush, whatever, but even if you're in a rush, you still should pull the thing up, whatever the deal is. And it would just blow my mind. But it tells you a lot about a person when you really look at how they start their day. Fellas, how many of you guys have seen the finest chick? She invites you back to the house or the apartment. Then you go there and you see clothes all over her bedroom. I'm out of there quick, because if you're throwing your funky, stanky drawers all over the place, I can only imagine what else is going on.
My Lord, all of that going on up in there. Nandade says, anytime a woman brags about golden showers, can't be too wholesome. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Even with that, women would be shamed and shunned if you said that. I mean, Glow might like some golden, not me. I'm saying Glow might like some golden showers, but that was Glow business and the person who was giving her the golden shower, right? Glow Dean didn't go out into the public square and say, guess what Melvin did to me last night? And he ain't drank no water before he did it. The good Glow didn't talk like that. You didn't know that. You didn't know why she was smelling a little ripe, okay? Or why she had a little yellow tint to. You didn't know why that was the case. You thought maybe she just was sunburned. But I'm saying, because back then you would have been shamed and shunned. Oh, that's a nasty woman. We don't hang out with that type of woman. Oh, she just saying and doing any kind of thing. You see how that lady dressed and what she talking? That's a see. There was a nasty woman, okay, in everybody's community knew who the nasty woman, and maybe there was two nasty women, but there wasn't a nasty women as a whole. You knew who the nasty woman was, and it was that way because, and she was an outcast from the community. Okay, so we've made it normal for people to talk over their clothes or under their clothes. Rather, we made that normal. I don't see the big damn lady. I don't want to know who done pissed on you. Right? Or who I don't want to even know that you like that. So that's the stuff we have to shun. Like, but she gets paid a lot of attention and money to talk like that.
Right. But it also goes back to like the Houston rodeo you guys recently had. I mean, grown women that are going to an event that kids might be there are dressing in their stripper uniforms. I mean, it's like, where's the common sense? I mean, you're talking about women that are my age that were dressing like that became a problem to where the event had to instill a dress code. That shows you how far gone our society has gone in regards to our respect. I mean, where's our respect for our children? You know, we don't even respect the damn children anymore. And it's just sad. It's just sad.
Yeah, and Common Man, thank you so much for another donation. Love and appreciate you, and Sister Cynthia as well. And like you said, some say Young Miami's maybe talking about her mother's experience. I guess some of that is her mom's experience. It is a very nice song. Just, you know, maybe she could have put some other lyrics to it, but you know, that ain't for everybody, right? Hero, what's going on with you? I hope that you're doing well today. Red Bird, what's going on? Says, where's the smoke for Keke Palmer and the movie and the song about it, the scammers, whatever. Yeah. So there's a lot of, I call it fake outrage, because there's a lot of things that are going on in our community that we've let slide and are letting slide. And we won't have that conversation. I just think it's easier to dogpile on Young Miami instead of having a larger conversation that Young Miami is only doing what she's doing because we as a community have accepted any and everything that people give us. You know what I'm saying? From whatever it is. And we should shun it. Those people shouldn't make any money off of us. We should say, no, I'm good. We don't want that. If you want to produce something for us, whatever it is, you need to make it upstanding or whatever it is. But all this degeneracy, no. So that's why I said too, y'all got to recognize that we are in an age of correction, that we are rebuffing a lot of things. Again, the way we spend our money, we're starting to wake up on how we vote, and the degeneracy as well is just a part of that conversation, that we are starting to reject that.
Yeah, and real quick, speaking of voting, it has been reported that Kamala Harris has reached out to the mayor of New York, and they're having conversations. Now, why do I bring that up? This woman is going to run for president in 2028, and she is reaching out to a communist for help, probably in the election, whatever the deal is. So I want you guys to look at these people, at how they will do anything to attain power. Now, I know some people out there support Kamala Harris, and that's your right. Hey, I support your right to support Kamala Harris. However, this woman has to go through a primary. She will not make it through the primary. This is the same woman that now she is saying, she's like basically kind of saying she kind of supports the Palestinians, when she unilaterally said she will give Israel all the arms they need to defend themselves. But do you see how politics works? It's about power and money, nothing else. It has nothing to do with ideology or whatever. It's about power and the money. So just be cognizant of that as we're getting closer to these elections.
I mean, the ancestors, thank you so much for that. Love and appreciate you. Says the term strawberry, put it out there for our women, man. That I remember, especially in California back in the 80s, I think that's kind of when I first heard it, a strawberry, and it wasn't like a good thing to be called a strawberry.
Strawberry, grape, hype.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good term. Okay, somebody call you a strawberry, you need to slap their face. I'm just playing. Repping magazine OG, what's going on? Just says, I almost got jumped last night when a crew of 10 over 40 women twerking and rapping to the song. So I asked, where your blood pressure at? You crazy. I see why they tried to get you. Shadow Papito, you says, I'm using voice dictation. Please forgive any typos. As a regular person, the only way I found out about this was via YouTube recommendation. That means I had to look it up, the song up. Yeah. I've heard it, obviously. and I've seen a lot of conversation about it, and I'm just like, people are just all over the place with who's to blame. All the song is it. Like, there's a lot of things that we should be shunning in this community. A lot of things. Yeah, the song, we shun that, but we could start. There's a lot of places we could start with things that we need to shun. I don't have a problem with shunning the song. I don't. But there's a lot of other things that should be shunned as well. Honestly, again, the way we vote has, well, it's probably gonna be a stupid question, so I won't ask it. Anyway, Sister Shirley says Kamala will probably lose again. Yeah, she's been kind of quiet. Unity of Strength, how you doing? Says she will never get elected. They think that she will. You know, they're gonna try to trot her out there. I've seen some.
There's no way. The donors, she has to have money. They're not going to do it this time. She has no way of winning, especially she has to go through a primary. She has no way of winning.
Matt, I'm not saying it's the song of the summer, but in some cases it is the song of the summer. That's what it's been dubbed, the song of the summer. It's wildly popular. I saw that it charted #1 on some chart. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, it's a very wildly popular song, and it does suck, unfortunately, that song is the song of the summer, or it's trending or whatever like that, because there are a lot of songs that should be trending, like India Irie stuff. Okay, we can't say that we are interested in consciousness and we don't run those things up. Lauryn Hill, okay, we should run her album up because it's still relevant, right? The things that she was saying, but that's, I think, to me, as my daughter was saying, is the larger conversation. Let's run that stuff up. Ain't nobody gonna block you, Buckhorse. No, I know you're not gonna be blocked. That's the larger conversation. Is we should promote positivity, as I always say. You know, especially some of the things in our community, we talk more about the negative things. For instance, let's say the nasty woman, whoever this nasty woman is, she could have done something, and that'll be trending. Did you hear about this woman? It's like, what about Glodine down the street that feed the kids and the homeless, and she do this, that, and the other? She's an upstanding woman in the community. We don't never talk about her. Or Mr. Melvin, who is mentoring boys and sports and things like that. We want to always give light to the degenerates in our community. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have both conversations, but we have more of the one conversation than the other. But I just feel like with the outrage in our community about this song, I think it's disingenuous. I really do. I think it's disingenuous because there's a lot of other things that are harmful to us. Again, Young Miami song is just the result of us being all right with, lowering the bar. Every time you turn around, the bar gets lower and lower. And what do we do? Well, I don't see the problem. Y'all just was mad because when y'all was young, y'all was done. And then the bar keeps going lower and lower and lower. And pretty soon we limboing in hell because the bar has gotten so low. And it's so low to the point to where we try to have conversations, especially with the young or whatever. We can't, because they have seen the stuff that we have allowed. Are y'all just mad? Or y'all just hate? And it's like, no, I can see your kitty cat. Your dress is too short. Well, you didn't see this is what, you know what I'm saying? Because we have allowed that to slide. Okay. We could talk about the bonnets and the house shoes and the wife beaters and the sagging pants. That stuff has just been allowed to happen. And I'm not saying we could control everybody in society, but if you saw your child going out the house dressed like this, that, and the other, and hell, a lot of these children saying their mama go out the house in a bonnet and house shoes and no bra and pajamas and the daddy. Like, I always ask, why don't we dress up anymore in society? And I'm not saying we got to run around at the grocery store with a ball gown on or a tuxedo, but what happened to Mr. Johnson, where he wear a button-up shirt and some slacks, right? It was every day. But nowadays, when you talk like that, oh, that's dressing up. You see a lot of men walking around in tennis shoes or slides and socks and basketball shorts and wife beaters or T-shirts and do-rags. What happened to the women that would put on a nice little outfit? Don't got to be nothing expansive, right? But a nice outfit, and she combed her hair or whatever. That was normal, right? We didn't see our mothers and our grandmothers and our fathers. My dad, up almost to the day he passed, wore a suit. That was normal to him, a suit. That's what we saw. He took us to Disneyland, for God's sakes, wearing a suit. I kid you not.
Your dad was cutting grass basically in a suit.
I mean, it's Stacey Adams. You know what I'm saying? So what happened to us? Y'all know we are still, but we really used to be the standard. Okay, black people, we would go outside, we would clean. That's why I like the song "Living for the City." I think that's the title of it by Stevie Wonder. He talked about she didn't have a lot of clothes, but never was she dirty. Okay, we were clean. We were well put together because we cared about how we were perceived and how we saw each other when we were in a public square. We got to get back to that.
Well, let's just go back to airline standards. Back in the day when not everybody was flying the airlines, they used to dress up because it was an experience. Now you see people come there, and I don't understand this for the life of me, Dimitri. You did a video on this a while back about the girl that was in the robe. She was basically had to put a robe on and getting on the airplane. Why would you have almost no clothes on, sitting on a public seat? You don't know what heebie-jeebies are coming between that seat, whatever. Why would you put yourself in that position, ladies? But yet we're doing it. And then the men, same thing. You know, you're going on a plane, you're musty or whatever the deal is. It's just we have to get back to excellence. You know, we just have to get back to it.
Yeah, and I think this is a good. Wait, somebody said, Rapping Magazine OG says, if in 2026 if the song "Ain't Gonna Bump No More" by Joe Tex, he would be fat shaming. Man, that was my brother Walter's favorite song. "Ain't Gonna Bump No More" with that big fat woman. Man, that I'm telling you right now, I could call him right now, and he'll probably sing the whole song. We was kids. I remember him singing that song. Soto says, I'm curious, was our aunts and uncles upset with the Mary Jane girls? I know they wasn't with Prince and Apollonia and Vanity 6. No, they weren't upset. I'm going to say two things here. And that's also part of the bar lowering. Okay, that music, the secular music like that has always been around. I'm telling you, I wish I could think of something off the top of my head. That was nasty music in the speakeasies, the juke joints and stuff, but they were in the juke joints, and people even still had the decency not to expose their children to that. Now with Apollonia and all them, yes, that was the bar lowering because it came more into the public. But I would tell you right now, I learned of Prince when I was like 12, 13, 11, but I was not allowed to watch the Purple Rain movie. My mom forbid us to watch that movie because she knew that wasn't for us. Right now, I watched it later. But what I'm saying is back then we had a little bit more discrepancy. But again, too, just to be honest, the bar started to lower where you saw women, and I love Denise, right? Vanity 6. I do. I love her. But we saw women out in lingerie. And that should have been a pearl clutching moment. Like, what?
Wait a minute. Wait, now, if you thought that was pearl clutching, how many of you guys remember, and this shows you if you know anything about gangster rap or whatever, HWA. How many guys remember that? Yes. I thought that the bar was completely on the floor at that point.
Yeah, no, it was on the and listen, it was on the bar on the floor a long time ago. Yes, Covada's hair, because I know you dating yourself now, because I know what a Covada's is. Yeah, you dating yourself, but yeah, that men were clean, okay, clean shaven, clean cut. Men don't smell good anymore. Like I'm like if I'm in the store or whatever, back in the day, you smell a man's cologne. You're like, damn, what he got? You don't smell men no more. You smell funk. Okay. Like, I'm just saying, like, people don't, it should be pride in that. When you walk outside, like, I'm gonna be real with you. And I go to the gym, y'all see me, I look toe up from the floor, but I'm at the gym. Okay. But if I'm going somewhere else, I don't look like that. So we got to get back to that. Because how can we expect our children to do that? Like somebody said, it was Christine, she's a comedian. She said, y'all got y'all little bitty babies outside with bonnets on. Y'all don't call me a baby's hair no more? Little braids, ponytails, plaits, something. Y'all putting bonnets on the kids and they outside with you with bonnet. I see that once a week. I'll be a whole family of bonnet heads outside. And I just wonder, like, what is that about, So yeah, Common Man says, that's the way it was, Dimitri. You would never go outside with dirty clothes, and especially dirty underwear. We get beat if we did. Absolutely. And Cynthia says, I'm waiting on my girl, Miss Erica Badu, to come back with some deep, dope beats and inspirational lyrics. I heard she was working on an album. Joe D was going on. She says, I think that our young people do not worry about what white people think about how they present themselves, because white people see us all the same no matter what we wear or education level. Yeah, and we don't care what white people think about us. White people have never thought highly of us, never, ever, ever. You know, because they put us on those plantations. It wasn't because they thought highly of us. It's because they thought too much of themselves and they were lazy as hell. So we don't live our lives by the standards of white people, because we got to remember that white people live their lives by our standards. They went and got our mamas. I have to tell y'all, both my grandmas were domestics. They got my grandmas to go work in their houses, take care of their family and children and things like that. So we never want to judge ourselves by the standards of white people. They are not the standard. And I'm sorry that a lot of us have, not saying that about you, but a lot of us have learned that that's the standard. Is it really? Think about waking up as a Black, beautiful human on this earth and waking up to try to adhere to the standards of people who never liked you, will never like you. And I'm not saying on an individual basis or some, but as a whole, they'll never like you. And why would you judge yourself by their standards? You shouldn't. Black Americans, I don't know where you've been, but we the standard. We're the standard. Now, unfortunately, we as Black folks here in America, we have adopted some of their ways, some of the things that we did not, it was not innate to us. We've adopted some of those things, right? Just being here in America, whatever it is, but you don't want to live up to those standards. So teach your children not to give a damn. Of course, you want them to be respectful humans wherever they go, but teach them not to give a damn about what them people think about them at all, right? Bonehound says, we'll discuss morality when we get our reparations. Yeah, I mean, we can have that discussion now, right? Because morality actually will help us become a little thing more unified. D-Mac, are you? I didn't see D-Mac. How you doing, D-Mac? Did I? There you go. I see you. And I saw what you sent me, but I couldn't open it because I don't have the app, news app or something like that. But I did see it, so I have to look a little bit more into it. But thank you for sending me that. Okay, so let's see who else is in the chat. K Tony, what's going on? It says a song promoting criminal activity with the beat and people are with it. Talk about lowering the bar. It is talking about criminal activity. But like I said, and I always say, if there's anything more influential over your child than you, that other thing is not the problem. You're the problem. And just in general, as a human, if you allow other things to influence you in a negative way, you might want to unplug, turn it off or whatever, but nothing should be more influential to your child than you, period. I hate them when I hear parents say, well, you know, they're watching the TV and it's corrupting the kids. No, you corrupting the kids, right? Even I saw in Chicago where they had a meeting with the teens and their parents, they said, well, you know, if we had something to do, and it's like, even if you had nothing to do, nobody's telling you to go out there and do some of those things, right, that you're doing. If you were sitting at home twiddling your thumbs, that should not make you go and wreak havoc onto the community. Not saying all of them are doing it. I think a lot of them are probably just being teenagers. Obviously, the media sometimes overhypes things, but there's some out there that are causing a ruckus, and that's a parental thing. So yeah, Derek, how you doing? Says the cologne is very watered down. You can put it on and you won't smell anything in an hour. I'm gonna tell you one thing, okay? It's the type of cologne, I think, because I have some pretty nice stuff, and I tell you, most of the stuff I did not buy. Most of them, probably 95% of the things that I have were given to me, and I got some pretty good bottles. I got the one that I'm wearing now is Carmina Creed. Okay, now I didn't buy it; it was given to me. It's about a 400 give or take bottle of perfume, and I just go, psh, and I smell it all day. If I go, psh, psh, it's too strong. Okay, so what I'm saying is sometimes it's probably the caliber, and I got all types of perfumes. So sometimes it just depends on what it is.
You know what? I'm gonna add to this. I'm gonna give you the brothers a game. If you're looking for a real woman, fellas, and you want a cologne that's gonna attract a real woman, you use the cologne your daddy used. You use the cologne your granddaddy used.
High
Can't go
karate.
wrong with high karate or some Old Spice. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Old Spice.
Listen, don't get me started on Old Spice. I love the smell of Old Spice. Yeah, my high school sweetheart. Hey, Black America, how you doing? Jordan, what's going on with you? My high school sweetheart used to wear Old Spice. My Lord, I tell you what. Woo! Yes. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm telling y'all, man, I'm just giving you the game. Women love when men smell good. Oh my God. It's like, man, I've been with my friend. We be walking on the mountain and a man passes us with some cologne on. We both be, damn, he smell good. I'm just giving y'all the game, okay? You gotta take a bath too before you put the perfume or the cologne on. And perfume too if you're a lady. Because ain't nothing like, let me shut up. Black America, where have you been? You been on the road again? Ezel, let me go here. Margaret, you say most of these men need training on how to be a man before they can teach the boys. Some of the older men think telling the boys how to disrespect girls is the way. Yeah, and that's because they just need to be around men to teach them manhood. Or, there's a lot of grown men and women. When I say grown, I mean chronologically. Grown men and women that do not know how to be that because they've never seen that as an example, So yeah, Ezel, he says, we know music, TV, etc. are used to project the image of Satan. It says TPS Kingdom of Darkness, falling test the spirits. He says Melchizedek, priesthood, true full gospel, one love, Yah restoration. Yes, that is true. That's actually Satan's ministry is music. Tyrone, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. Common Man says, we think morality before and after we get reparations. Come on now. We always got to be of moral standing. Always. No, money shouldn't make us be moral, right? What? African Native says no garlic fragrance. Unless they making it into some type of cologne or perfume that smell good. I got a weird perfume that I got for a birthday present. It's called Nosferatu. Smells good. At first it smelled kind of
Dracula. Mm-hmm.
Yes. But then when it dries down, it smells good. I one time I was in my office working and I saw my daughter come out of my room, and then sure after I saw her come out of my room, I smelled my perfume. I said, I know damn well you didn't spray all my good stuff, because that ain't a cheap bottle of perfume, okay? She sprayed it on to go to bed. I'm spraying something on to go. I said, you don't spray on that to go to bed. We joke about it to this day. You spray on the stuff that don't cost that. She said, I bought the bottle, okay? I'll put it on if I want to. Not for you to roll around in your sheets. A brute don't smell bad either. I like the old stuff. I really do. Chaps, yep. All of that. A Brave Bull. I ain't never heard no Brave Bull. That sounds kind of strong. I'll be sure you say Tom Ford. Tom Ford smells pretty good. Gray flannel. Yep. Y'all see, y'all coming with all the good stuff. Gray flannel was back at the Gap. My daddy's cologne was Aramis. Aramis. From the time as long as I can remember, Aramis is what he would wear. I would even remember him taking us to the department store, right, to get some Aramis. So yeah, my dad liked to smell good. Todd says, I need to get some Old Spice. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's something about it's very nostalgic. You know what it is? This is what I'm gonna tell you what it is, and then we're gonna get out of here. Okay, it's primal. When I say primal, it reminds me of when men were men, just men. That's what it reminds me of. Old Spice, right? So yeah. That it's almost like a pheromone, an aphrodisiac.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said your grandfather wore it. I mean, yes. The real men wore it, and real women will respond to it. Absolutely. Before we get out of here, I need your opinion on this because we haven't talked about it yet. The TPS for the Haitians has expired. They have to get out of here ASAP. What is your thoughts on the Haitians having to leave officially now. And those Haitians that have businesses, what are they going to do? Of course, they've got lives. They built the nation. What do you feel about that as well? They built this nation. This nation is theirs. What's your thoughts?
Hold on a second. Black America says, well, when they coming out, I'll be there in September. I'll be there. Are you gonna wear some Old Spice, some Brute, something primal? Hold on one second. I'm gonna get to that. Shemesh, how you doing? Long time no see. Says what? Says a 304 cannot raise a lady the same as a no good. Can't raise a stand-up guy. And the Jewish people run black music. They dictate what you hear, pushing the people backwards. The same as the law not putting a belt on the kids, and those kids had kids, and now their leftovers are running the streets. Whoa. Says just as America planned, the other black kids been turned to cowards in a uniform, killing and stealing for their master overseas and always bombing weak nations. Woo. You said a word there. So what do I think about TPS status? TPS status ending. Well, I feel like it's the word temporary, right? Doesn't mean permanent. As I explained before, without belaboring the point, we know that the Haitians and the Syrians, they got TPS status due to what was going on in their country, the earthquake for Haiti, and a civil war for Syria. So they were granted TPS status by the Obama administration in 2010 and 2012, basically saying that one day your situation in your own country will improve. So one day you'll be able to go back, but there are still debates as to whether that's happened or not, whether it's stable. There are some parts of Haiti that is stable because, as I said, there's white people there. Syria, they said that is still unstable due to the civil war. So that's debatable. But we do know that the temporary status had been renewed like 12 to 18 times, depending on what it was. And so I just feel like you knew this day was coming, that you should have worked on potentially getting a permanent status here. When Biden was in office, I know he didn't like the Haitians much. People don't talk about that, but he didn't like the Haitians, but he loved everybody else. I think that's when people should have probably taken advantage of becoming citizens, since they did open up the doors just a little bit wider and allowed people to come over. But see, the problem is with the Republicans and the Democrats, no matter what administration it was, they knew that people were here illegally. And I know temporary status people aren't here illegally. They're actually here legally, but they knew that they were here. They know that people were here illegally, and they let them do all that they wanted to do. Even Trump, he had mentioned it during his first term, but he didn't really pursue it much. But his second term, even before he got in, he said these things were going to happen, and people didn't take it seriously. And even the group of people who are being deported the most, I don't know, some people say it's the Latinos. I don't know. They didn't vote for Kamala like Black Americans did. They voted about 50% here and there for Trump and 50% for Kamala, even though she would have protected them. If you're here on a temporary protected status, I don't think you can vote. But I just think there was measures that they could have taken. And also the Democrats who are crying about it now, y'all left those people unprotected, because I don't know exactly what you could have done, but you probably could have done something to protect those people. You didn't do it. And now Trump is the boogeyman. And I think the other thing, and if you guys, of course, know 4th of July was yesterday, I don't celebrate. But if you look at any Democrats page or tweets or posts about it, they didn't really talk about you at all. Not being free 250 years ago, our ancestors, 1776. You know what they talked about? They talked about this country being for all. Oh, and this is an immigrant country. This is a country, the independence for immigrants, and we built this country for all. That's what they talked about. They didn't talk about you, right? So when I hear that the TPS status has ended for a certain group of people, I'm like, well, what did you do to make it permanent? And you didn't put the pressure. Yvette, what's her face? D. Clark. She's Jamaican, but she's over the Caribbean caucus. And what did she do for them? What hill did she die on to protect these people? And also, as I talked about on the African Diaspora News Channel, the Syrians, because I told y'all I was going to look into it, and somebody's like, why? Because I'm interested to see what people or other groups of people are doing. Y'all know a lot of them set up shop in our communities, those liquor stores and things. They're Arabs, right? They're white Arabs, but they set up shop in our communities, and they should have the same conversations that the Koreans and in the Asian community getting from us. They should also have the same thing because they brutalize our people as well.
Yeah, and in closing, for those of you guys that don't know, you want to do your research on this. I was doing my research in the Caribbean and a lot of places around the world. They are banning Haitians from coming to their country because what they're finding out is, I guess there was a bunch of Haitians in Chile, and they got status down there. And then when they saw the goodies that were happening up here, these Haitians burned their whatever, they got rid of their status in Chile to come up here. And these guys are being banned all throughout the Caribbean and places like that. So it's getting pretty bad for them. And I'm not, saying that to be like mean to them or anything like that, but I do disagree. They did not build this country. And the way I look at it is this: some of them have been here for 18 years. Do you mean to tell me in 18 years, you cannot pick up, obviously you should be better than you were 18 years ago. So with that knowledge, with those degrees that they keep bragging about and how much better their country is with all the flags and all the stuff that they love, and be prideful for who you are. 18 years here, you take what you've gotten here, go back and make that country great. That's what they have to do. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because obviously, since your country was so great, you didn't even bother to update your status here in the United States.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair conversation as well, but again, as it's been pointed out too, Black Americans and Common Man, thank you so much for that. He says, get out is my response. After all, why should the Haitians care? I'm a dirty Black American. Y'all talk about that lady who said that. It says, after all, they're exactly who Dr. Anderson is talking about. They want to usurp us anyway. Get out. Yeah, and I think that's the other conversation that needs to be had. Black Americans, as Brother Phil said, we did not end the TPS status. We didn't give you TPS status. So why are you mad at us? And as other people have said, y'all not getting funky with white folks or Koreans or anybody else. Y'all mad with us. The people y'all say that are the worst and we don't have no culture and all these other things. Not all of them say that, right? So I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I think that as a conversation, maybe try to fix what you got going on. And Trump said that he's going to give you $2,100 a piece in the plane ticket, which you could, I guess, do some things with. I don't know. But I just know that Black Americans have to be for Black Americans for once, because we haven't been for a very long time, especially after segregation. We kind of left everything that we had going on thinking that we were going to meld together with our white society, and that never happened. The only thing that melded with white society is our vote and our money. And as somebody brought up Dr. Claude Anderson, look where it's gotten us. And he's warned us, Sister Brandy, my little homegirl in California, that's catching a little heat from the Latino community, but that's all right, because we got her back. But she even warned us. She tried to tell us. She showed us what, if y'all didn't catch that on African Diaspora News Channel, y'all should catch it, where she illustrated in Los Angeles where vendors, and a lot of them are more than likely, I'll say that, illegal there, Latinos, and they have taken over a portion of the Black community. I mean, there's just tents and vendors. You can't even walk down the street because they're blocked off the sidewalk. And from what she said, that some of those tents stay there overnight. So they don't have any, food handlers, cars and things like that. But Los Angeles, they're okay with that because they're, I don't know if they're a sanctuary city or they kind of operate like one, but they're very friendly to illegal immigrants. But they are very austere to Black Americans, because you could not, as a Black American, do any of the stuff that they do and get away with it. Okay. Also, the way the police department is set up somewhere in Los Angeles, they won't press their own people, but they'll press you all day long. All day long. You'll get kicked in the tailbone. But as I said in that video, that's our fault too, because of the way we vote. We're not for ourselves. We knew this day would be coming where, as Dr. Claude Anderson said, back in the day, it was whites in our population, Blacks, Hispanics. He says, at the way you're going, it's going to be whites, Hispanics, then you'll be 3 or 4. And he says, if you weren't getting anything at number 2, what do you think you'll get at number 3 and 4? And here we are. And he says, Black Americans, we're not going to have the numbers to fight everybody else. And so, unfortunately, you have to throw in the Haitian community, because they do along with not just them, but a lot of other communities come over here. And we're like, well, what about us? Y'all, I mean, you're watching the Democratic Party, who Black Americans vote for the most. When I say Black Americans, I'm saying collectively, we vote for them the most, but we see them crash out for illegal immigrants. That's just what they do. But yet we are told that we're horrible people. If you, let's say, voted for Trump, or you voted for the couch, or whatever it is, you're a horrible person. You should be uninvited to Thanksgiving and all the other things, because you didn't go vote for the Democratic Party, who do nothing for you. But we were told to stop doing that. So now we're having this conversation. Unfortunately, the Haitians, the Syrians, or whoever, I don't hear nothing from them, but they're taking it personally against us, because we're saying, especially to the people who are for them, if you want our votes, you're going to have to do something for us. Otherwise, get illegal immigrants or people with TPS status, get them to vote for you, because we're done. So, yeah. Thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. We was actually supposed to get out of here about 45 minutes ago, but we didn't. Cynthia says Governor Newsom will never get my Black vote. Well, yeah, he's going to be running. I'm pretty sure he's going to be trying to run to be the president. Hey, Raymond.
Well, one of his staff members got mic'd up and some kind of scandal's going down. So we're going to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, but they don't care about scandals. If it ain't him, they don't care about that. Nancy Pelosi husband, I know she's not in office anymore, but he got did a hit and run on somebody, and he's in trouble. I don't even know why he driving. Sound like he a little too seasoned to be driving, but that ain't my business. But he'll get a slap on the wrist. Nothing will happen, because that's Gavin Newsom's uncle, in a sense, right? Yeah. So I always say this too. I don't have any ill will for anybody else. I don't care if it's the Latinos, it's the Asians, the Haitians, I don't have any ill will toward them. Because as I said, if you heard there was a land of milk and honey where all the milk and honey was good for the getting, wouldn't you go to? You will go there. Donovan's going to the DR in a little while. There's a land of milk and honey. He's going to go, right? But my point is, we've helped that be the case. We have done that. No other group of people vote for the Democrats like we do. And I know the Republicans don't do anything for us, but I think there is some argumentation in that some of the things that they are doing, we benefit, even if it's inadvertently, right? Don't mistake because they're taking the African American museum away and all this other stuff, that's something against us. Because as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, if they could take it from me when he was talking about Kanye, right, then it was never really yours. See, when they take something that we own away, then that's when we have a bigger conversation. But the things that the Republicans are doing, as far as they say now, we're going to have a conversation about not letting nobody in right now, right? Because the birthright citizenship thing didn't work out in their favor. So they're having those conversations. I don't know if y'all heard that Trump got the $70 billion to last the rest of his term for ICE and ICE only. They have deported, and their numbers are, they said they were doing, I think, 500 to 600 a day. They're doing 2,000. They're trying to get 2,000. They said last week or the week before, they did 10,000 illegal immigrants that they got, detained. So they have ramped the numbers up. And I knew that was going to happen since the birthright citizenship thing didn't fly. I knew that they were going to say, okay, bet. Now we out there. Okay, we out there and we getting any and everybody. So, that helps Black Americans, believe it or not. Because I've heard of a lot of Black folks personally, and just, through word of mouth or whatever, said that now I can get a job. And you are starting to see a lot of Black people on jobs that you weren't seeing before. And I'll be honest with you, my daughter and I went to the Cheesecake Factory the other day, and do you know there was nothing but Black men, Black young men as the wait staff were working there. And I said, wow, back in the day, you wouldn't have saw that. So it was mostly Black young men. And I was just so happy. My daughter will tell you, she says, well, yeah, because she paid. What should we tip them? I say, you give them a good tip. Because I was so happy to see that. But so we are starting to see a correction. So it's not all bad. Now, do I like the way ICE has been? They don't seem like they're doing that, the austerity now. I don't like how they went about things, but I think we forget that ICE is a department that is needed, not just due to what's going on now, but you want to make sure that they're not nefarious characters that are here to do nefarious things. You know what I mean? That's what it's for. but they want to get rid of ICE. But again, these same people that a lot of people vote for, do you hear them talking about getting rid of the po-po? The po-po kicking black folks' tailbones in every day. And you don't hear not one of them talking about abolish the police. You don't hear none of them saying that, but they want to get rid of ICE. So what? But people come in here and do something, and then they talk about, well, how did that happen? Because you want to abolish ICE. But black folks catching hell all day long by the police, the patty rollers, the triple OG patty rollers, right? And they ain't saying nothing about that. You can go look on any news site and you'll see somebody black then caught a bad one by the po-po. And I ain't seen LaMonica McIvers, Maxine Waters, Jasmine Crockett, even though she out the door. I ain't seen nothing there with Hakeem, Jeffries, none of them. I've not seen none of them say anything about what black Americans got going on, but they want rolling and all they want y'all to go out and vote for more of nothing. For what? Anytime somebody says, yeah, you need to vote for that. Why? Give me one good reason. And don't give me the all lives matter and all that, because everybody's to know. Tell me what I'm going to get specifically as a black American to go vote for a group of people who are unapologetic about taking care of illegal immigrants who have come over here and broken the law when we got all these black folks in and out of these jails, some rightfully, some unjustly, a lot unjustly, and they don't say nothing. But they want you to care more about illegal immigration than the plight of black folks here in America. But what we're supposed to be doing is doing for self. They won't tell you that. They won't say, since we won't help you, since we're going to do for everybody else, why not y'all go do for self? No, they tell you how poor you are. Oh, God, did you see Trump took the African-American?
You're a victim. You're a victim.
Yeah, They took the books. Oh, look what they're doing to you, HBCU. They say the HBCU enrollment is up now. And the crazy part is they don't even have enough beds for all these people. See, that's the conversation we got to start having. We can't say, take your babies out of these white schools. And then when it's time for them to enroll in our own schools, they dilapidated. Ain't no room for them. You got people, the deans and all kind of people stealing money and bringing in these white PR firms talking about putting data centers on the school campuses. See, that's a us problem, right? Because we have to educate ourselves, and that we won't do that. That's a problem. That's why I said I don't mind being a bad guy. I don't mind repeating things over and over and over again so that we can get it, because that's how I learn. Repetitiveness, right? So we have to really see what they don't want us to see. Are we a victim? Yes. We are one of the original victims, right? The indigenous people. Yes, we are a victim. No other group of people, even the Indians, right? They haven't had done to them what was done to us. But we need to talk about the victimization that we participate in ourselves. Like I said, I don't never want to hear about my friend, Brandy, being green lighted. If y'all know what green lighting is, I don't never want to hear about her being green lighted or green lit because she's trying to tell black folks, stop allowing this stuff to go on in your community. She shouldn't be getting the other communities, the Latinos and all them, they guys feel like they own black folks. He tell you what to do and what to say, and if you don't do what they say, they're gonna try to take your life. That's the type of time they on. And then if you mad that they say the N-word, this, that, and the other, so what? It's just a word. Because they know we don't stick together. We're starting to. But they know what you're going to do. But my friend can't even raise awareness without them talking about taking her life. But they want to run around calling people the N-words and putting it all up in their music. All kind of stuff like that is normal. You don't hear have you heard a Democrat crash out about them calling us the N-words? Donovan, have you heard it? But sit up and call them something. Oh, well, we all need to be the NAACP, the CBC. All of them will have something to say.
Well, speaking of the NAACP, they just took up the trans issue as one of their main focal points right now.
They're mad. They're mad because that was before the Supreme Court. And they say, yeah, no, men or boys should not be in women and girls' sports. Yes, you can't do that. And the NAACP talking about it's wrong. Let children be children. See, that's how you know they on that bullshit. Okay. Now, again, if you study the inception of the NAACP, you see who they started that stuff with. See, they want your child, right? They want your boys and your girls run around confused. And you have to forgive me. I know I'm gonna get in trouble with some people, you know, whatever it is, but they want them to be accepting of, like, imagine you having a daughter, right? And she's learned how to do whatever sports, and then some guy who may put on a wig and maybe lowered his testosterone, now he want to enter into competition with your daughter. You wrong if you mad about that. That's the lunacy that we live in now, and that's the NAACP that's championing for that, and they want you as Black people to sign up with being all right with boys in sports with girls. Like that's common sense. But that's what I'm saying. When we lower the bar is so low to where things that are nonsensical, are they? Well, why? I don't see the problem with a boy putting on a wig and then he running and jumping and he getting all the gold medals.
Sure. Why shouldn't the boy be allowed to go into a female locker room or a bathroom? Why shouldn't he be allowed to do that?
If you're mad about that, you the problem. You the problem. If you look up and some boy or some dude with a wig whip out of Johnson in a woman's bathroom, and you wrong. That put you out of there, because when we accepting. I saw not too long ago where they hemmed up a dude and he was in the bathroom doing something, and I don't know if he was trans, but he taking videos of people's sons up in the damn bathroom.
Well, I want my civil rights. Anytime that I go to jail, I don't want to go to a male prison. I want to go to a female prison, and I'm a fully functioning man. I should be allowed to go to a female prison. That's how nonsensical that is.
Well, yeah, you know, and that's a different conversation. You know, a lot of people have fully had the trans, what they call sexual a thing. So I think that would be problematic to send them to that. I mean, if they're championing this type of stuff, maybe just have somewhere for them. Because I don't believe in putting people in danger, right? You don't want to put somebody who's completely had the surgery in a man's prison, right? Like that. I don't think you want. And also don't commit crimes if you've done that, right? To keep down the confusion or whatever. But yeah.
But let's not forget the State of the Union this year. If you like Trump or you don't like Trump, it doesn't matter. He said we're all Americans and we can all agree that Americans should be taken care of first. Please stand with me. Only one Democrat, Fetterman, who was a senator, stood. And that basically tells you what the Democratic Party stands for. They don't stand for American people. They stand for immigrants.
Yeah, that's true. And the Republicans ain't, you know, I almost said a cuss word, but they ain't nothing.
Yeah, no, it ain't that better, but it's common sense.
No, but I'm saying it is. But, you know, Fetterman, is he really a Democrat? I think he, you know, we know he's a Zionist. No. I mean, he is. He's a Zionist, and he's got a lot of orange dust around his mouth as well. But, you know, when the Republicans, you know, let's say when Obama was in office, they call them liars, all kind of foolishness. So they all see the problem with the politicians is the people, right? Vote them out. They up there playing games and arguing and fighting and doing stupid stuff. Vote them out. Right? Like, get people in there who are really going to be there to work and not be there for them and the foolishness.
Yeah. But I want you guys to pay attention to this. I know we got to get out of here. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Do you know that why is it that when Joe Biden or Obama or the Democrats have all forms of government, there's going to be one or two senators that is going to hold up the whole legislation? That was Christine Sinema and Joe Manchin, right? Once they held up everything, we can't get you the Justice and Policing Act. We can't get you what we promised you. They got all these excuses. And, you know, to me, as somebody who studies history, I look at this every time. They have everything that they can do. It's an excuse why, if Black people are going to benefit from a bill or something, they can't do it. Because they put these people in there. And notice Sinema left and Joe Manchin retired. There was some kind of, and this is my opinion, there was some kind of backdoor deal that bought these guys out to obstruct Joe Biden's agenda, whatever it was. So, you know, I'll make all these promises, but when I get in there, we need to get these people set up so that they can obstruct it. But notice when the Republicans get in there, ain't no obstruction. And we're not Republicans here. I'm just pointing out facts. When the Republicans go in there, they do their agenda. period. The Democrats get in there. They promise all, if you get me the Senate, I'll get you the Justice and Policing Act. I'll get you this, that. They make all of these promises to us. Then they get in there. Oh, well, it wasn't me. Joe Manchin is holding up the bill, or the parliamentarian is holding up the bill. This person, that person. But let it be for illegals or anybody else, or the Asian crime bill, unilateral support across the board. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah, and they're all in the same game. They all faking and shaking. Every last one of them. They may act like they don't like this or that, but at the end of the day, they're all making more money than you. Okay, politics has become, I mean, there's always been money in politics, a problem with money in politics or whatever. And the Supreme Court basically said, hey, you can use as much money as you want now, you know, out in the open, for lack of better words. But yeah, it's about money. It's not about people no more. It's about money. And they're all going to play, same bird facing east. They're all going to play the game like, okay, we're going to go out there and pretend we hate each other. And then, you know, we're going to give the American people something to do as the capitalists, right? They moving this, that, and the other and all this other stuff. So, yeah, they know we ain't paying attention. See, when you pay attention, then so much stuff don't get by you. So it's all about knowing. That's what my dad used to always say. It's all about knowing. And they know we don't know because we don't want to know, because we think as long as I'm fighting for team blue or team red, I got some say so. That's democracy. Well, if you had democracy, then the country would run the way we wanted it to run, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be no homelessness. We'd have a minimum wage more than $7.25 an hour as a national level, right? We'd have a better society if we had democracy. Because ain't nobody really asking for the foolishness they got going on in Washington. The people aren't asking for that. That's them doing that. And we have given them so much power. In fact, they shouldn't have any power. The power should be with the people. But we have, as a society, conceded all of our power to a select few of people there in Washington to tell us how our life should be while they're eating greedy, right? They have that let them eat cake thing. I don't know if y'all saw my video I did today on the African Diaspora News Channel about the food stamps. The Supreme Court or federal court somewhere basically said that Trump and them in certain states cutting off junk food and things like that from the food stamp program, that you can't do that because per the Constitution, they had defined what food is. And some of that food that they cut off is considered a part of the definition. But even so, I don't believe that they should do that to people, especially as I said in my commentary. You got Trump whining and crying, and somebody got arrested for allegedly gashing up the blue pool. He had a whole UFC tournament on the damn front lawn and all the other foolishness he got, but people can't have a piece of cake on some food stamps. And most people ain't getting that much in food stamps, you know. And so what you're doing is you're demonizing the poor even more. It's already humbling to be poor, but now you're telling people you can't have a piece of candy, you can't have a soda or whatever it is, while, you know, and I know Trump is wealthy, but he's still getting a lot of money from here and there. Hell, the man got a $400 million plane right when he stepped in office, but he telling people they can't have no candy, donut. See, that's our fault, though. That's
right, but at the same time, the Democrats should be checking this. They have the power to check all that, and yet, like you said, they're the same people.
Yeah,
they let it go on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Whether it's a Democrat, whether it's a Republican, even this healthcare thing, the Democrats, the Republicans, they cut this, that, and the other with the healthcare. The Democrats, and you ain't really heard them say much since, because they're all on the same team. They don't care. We, the American people, are that frog in the boiling pot of water. It's warm, it's tepid, you're cool, right? It heats up a little bit. It's getting a little warm. Okay, that's fine. And then pretty soon, we, the American people, are the frog in that pot, and we boil to death because we kept acclimating. So that they did this, that, and the other with the healthcare and things like that, and people are mad. Guess what? People have adjusted. You were mad, but you adjusted. Every time the gas prices go up, right? $5. Hell, no, it's $7. But guess what? People adjust. You mad, but you adjust, and you're not mad anymore. And so then they say, see, I told you. They be mad for a little bit, but they'll adjust. And guess what? They'll reelect me to kick them in the keister again. So
Kind of like the
that's
Asian
awful.
said, you'll be back. Go ahead and get mad for now, but you'll be back. Well, we know you'll come back to our businesses.
Yeah, but I kind of think the Asian community is seeing that ain't the case no more. I think black folks have learned, right? We have just learned, yeah, we're not going to do that. And like I said, I don't think it should just be them. Nobody should get our money. It should be black first, black owned. So it's a great time to be alive, I would say. But yeah, we got to stop the bleeding. We got to stop cutting ourselves and then complaining about it. So anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. Central Time. In the meantime, y'all have a great Special K. I try not to. We out of time. We can't be pulling no punches, right? But I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.